We need to talk. You're probably watching this video because you're worried. Your bearded dragon has stopped eating and you're in complete panic. First, a word of comfort. Bearded dragons are different from other pets you may have. Of course, they're reptiles. In the wild, they may go several days or even weeks without eating and be perfectly fine. So don't worry. In fact, bearded dragons in this very room are brumating and going several weeks without food. It's all completely natural. Welcome back. I'm Blake McNeely from Cliffhanger Reptiles, a breeder of genetically robust bearded dragons. Let's dive into this. Firstly, we have a detailed article on what to do if your bearded dragon's not eating, so check it out at the first link in the description. Now, I'm no veterinarian, but I would say most bearded dragon health issues all boil down to one key issue: lighting. If your bearded dragon isn't eating, the chances are it's due to improper temperatures. If the enclosure is too cool, the bearded dragon won't be able to digest their food and they'll stop eating. As a reminder, the basking spot in a bearded dragon enclosure should be between 105 and 110 degrees Fahrenheit. The general warm side of the enclosure should be between 90 and 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and the cool side should be between 80 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit if possible. The dragon behind me is on the basking spot. You can see how the basking spot's elevated. Your bearded dragon's enclosure also needs to cool down at night. Far too often, owners use nighttime heaters when they're simply not needed. Unless your bearded dragon's enclosure gets below 65 degrees at night, please do not use a ceramic heater. In Australia, temperatures get well into the 40s at night. So, they're gonna be fine. Since temperature is so important, we recommend using an infrared thermometer. This will get you a far greater reading on surface temperatures than a standard ambient thermometer, and they're not going to break the bank. Second link in the description. We really recommend that every bearded dragon owner get one of these. Now that your bearded dragon enclosure is at the right temperature, let's check UVB. Having the wrong UVB bulb can cause a lot of issues. Let's fix that. Use these instead of these, because these are way better. I wanted to make a clip of B-roll of smashing that one, but Mercury.
You are so stupid.
Who owns the bearded dragons?
Well, actually.
Stress is another really common reason why a bearded dragon might not be eating. If your bearded dragon has just shipped and just arrived to you, don't worry. It may take them a few days to warm up to you and start eating. They may also change the foods they're eating. Don't worry, this happens and will change with time. Bearded dragons can also get really stressed out in glass aquariums. That's why we recommend these custom enclosures. You can check them out in the notes below. If you must house your bearded dragon in an aquarium, try to cover up at least 3 sides of the enclosure on the inside of the glass so that they don't see the reflection. If a bearded dragon sees the reflection, they'll glass dance, as we like to call it. And this is a sign of stress, and it's usually the result of stress marks on their stomach that you'll see sometimes. If your bearded dragon has these stress marks and is still not eating, try covering the front of the enclosure from the inside as well. Just do this for a few days, and it'll make sure that your bearded dragon is not stressing out based on the new environment. If your bearded dragon is constantly hiding, again, check the temperatures. Also try removing the hide for a few days. None of our breeders have hides, as we find that these can cause a lot of problems. You may also want to experiment with different kinds of feeders. Sometimes when bearded dragons are adjusting, they won't eat a specific type of feeder. So if you try something else, maybe they'll eat it instead. Check the fourth link in the description for a full list of live feeders. Crickets, superworms, mealworms, and dubia roaches are all great staples. You can also try black soldier fly larvae and hornworms as a treat. But bearded dragons almost never turn down dubia roaches, so try that. I know they're disgusting, but try it, it'll work. Again, bearded dragons can and will go for weeks without eating. Try not to panic. This room is our brumation room because we don't have anywhere else to film, so we have rows of bins of bearded dragons that are cooled down for the winter. It's like their hibernation. Breeders have to do it, so don't worry about it. It's all gonna be okay. If your bearded dragon still won't eat, keep an eye on their weight. Check the 6th link in the description to understand bearded dragon weight. It's not exactly what they weigh on the scale, so you can check the link in the description to know exactly where fat should be on a bearded dragon to tell if they're overweight or underweight. Also, it's completely normal for your bearded dragon to slow down eating as well. If they're still eating some, but not as much as they used to, this is completely understandable, as they go through various different growth spurts that'll change the way they eat. Keep an eye that your bearded dragon is regularly going to the bathroom. Adult bearded dragons only go to the bathroom about once a week, but if your bearded dragon is eating and not going to the bathroom, this might be a sign of parasites. We cannot emphasize enough not to panic. As long as your bearded dragon isn't acting overly lethargic, the chances are they're just not hungry. Of course, if you think it's an emergency, make sure to contact your local veterinarian or reach out to Beardy Support at cliffhangerreptiles.com/contact. Ma'am? No, why are you going away? The people want to see you. Seriously, they're here for you. They're not here for me. That's all for us today. If you have further questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below or read more information at www.cliffhangerreptiles.com. If we helped you out, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe for more fantastic bearded dragon videos. Cliffhanger Reptiles TV is made possible by these great people, and the bearded dragon that's behind me is a high yellow hypocitrus tiger from our Royal Lemon line. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Stay frosty.